playful growth. Sir, tell us a little bit about what brought you here to Barcelona, please, if you would.
Well, it's a long story, but essentially, I was with a friend in Bulgaria setting up an online how to be more social course.
How to be more social.
How to be more social. How to be more social. What are the kind of ways you can engage with people in order to have a more meaningful life? Because I believe that engaging with people who gives you a lot of meaning in your life. But sometimes people are more closed than they realize, and there are simple tricks to engage, smile at people, different mentalities and things that allow you to engage and connect with people.
What if I really can break in really quickly? What was one of the first times where you realized that you like connecting with people, or is that an Irishman thing? I'm wondering.
You know, I was actually a bookworm when I was a kid.
Okay.
Until about 14, 15, I was very, let's say, introverted. And then I discovered alcohol, and my introversion went away till about 22, 23, when I realized that had overtaken my natural inclinations. And I gave up alcohol at 23, and I went through this process of relearning how to connect with people in a meaningful way, which was painful and slow, but ultimately great.
So, wow, alcohol at 14, 15.
That's standard Irish, 13. You know? 13, you're on it, you know. And when I was 16, I fell off a wall and burst my kidney.
Madonna mia. And you continued drinking for 7 more years.
Exactly, this is the thing. In Ireland, it was so normalised that no one ever thought to say, maybe you're drinking too much. You know?
Would you say, and I'm sorry that we've diverted a little bit off the passion, because obviously our brothers from Ireland has moved to grace Barcelona with some goodness. But would you say that's a big kind of quiet killer of some sort for a lot of people?
Is it quiet? I mean, in Ireland, I think it's quite clear.
Nobody talks about it. I mean, in my country, everyone's, he's stage 5 bipolar disorder with comorbid with alcoholism. And, you know, we label. And here in Europe, we don't really do that much.
I think when you're 23, when I was 23 and I quit alcohol, it was a shock to lots of people. And it was very difficult because I was such a people pleaser, right? And so saying, no, I don't drink, at first it's like very positive. I'm so sorry, I don't want to kill myself anymore. It's really bad for me. And you could feel people reacting like that. One thing that I learned from that was how to be okay with setting boundaries, which is super important. As you get older, I'm 38 now, and when I say I don't drink to people, most people by the time they're 38 have realized that drinking has bad impacts on your health and various other aspects of your life. So more people can relate it to now at this age. But when you're younger, it's a lot more difficult. You don't have that same identity established. You don't have the strength of character to say, I don't want to drink. And I think having role models at some level of people who don't drink can be very, very helpful.
Hey, did you have a role model? And then I'm really going to get some more of this integrative focus. But did you have a role model in helping? Because I have sober people in my family. I didn't have a drinking problem, thank God. I just throw water. That's my drinking problem. But it's a bad movie line. But do you have any
sober role
models?
No, not in particular. I've never really had so many role models. What happened was I was in Taiwan, and the advantage of being in a foreign country is you don't have the same social mores or connections or people holding your identity so fixed. You have a lot more flexibility.
Yeah.
So you can kind of reinvent yourself. I never would have quit drinking if I'd been living in Ireland. It would have been too hard. But when you change your social context, you get a bit more flexibility. You can play around with it a little bit more. It's still painful. It's easier. There's less friction.
Amen. Let's talk about this, because one of the things that I'm not gonna lie, up until this year, we've had the money of Brexit boosting your brother up, and this has been a blessing to have that. And it's so good to not have to deal with that anymore, because I've got a lovely Irishman and a European here sitting next to me. But on top of that, we're here with the Club with Lucas and RCE. We want to be connecting more with local people, and I was really blessed to meet somebody who kind of changed viewpoint that I can sometimes be. I told him, don't confuse anger with my righteous indignation, because as we've become mates over the last few weeks, I was raised to be very conscious of others. I had the disease to please as well, and I've had to learn to break that and draw up boundaries. But at the same time, I've also learned that I'm a very much an empathetic, empath, self-actualized human being, because when you survive trauma, that's the kind of people you are. If you come out good, thank God, you focus that way. And sometimes I feel like a lot of my straight brothers and friends, and I really only have I don't really have a big community of gay people who are friends, so most of my friends are straight guys and my straight sisters. And when you have an element where you don't meet a lot of men who are very empathetic or very extroverted and funny and diverse as you are, and also into body, mind, soul, spirit. I don't meet a lot of people like that in general, and meeting you has been an interesting blessing that's had to make me change my thought process a little bit. I want to talk about that because, in regards to the philosophy, what is the philosophy behind playful growth? And here comes the Instaclip.
So, essentially, being playful is a mindset and an attitude that can lead to more fulfilling life. And it's also something very natural. It's what kids have naturally. They sing, they dance, they laugh, they play. And at a certain point, we get that, and those words, conditioned out of us through society. At some point, the child stops singing, stops dancing, and they have usually some sort of trauma around this. You know, when you ask them to sing, I only sing in the shower. Like, really, you only sing in the shower? That's one of the most tragic sentences that I get to hear almost every single day. You know, I dance when I'm drinking or when I'm out with my friends. And so this playfulness allows you to access basically a sense of joy. And there are a lot of barriers to this in our lives. Social, cultural, physical, emotional. And playful growth specializes in essentially removing these barriers. We're not trying to put you into a special state. We're helping you to remove barriers to return you to your natural state of playing, dancing, singing, and actually enjoying life. There's no point, you're not getting healthy to get healthy so you can measure your food more. You're getting healthy so you can access states of joy and share this with other people.
And that's, I guess, where the mind, body, spirit, soul thing connection comes in. Why do I feel, let me speak empirically, that this seems to affect men more?
I had an interesting conversation yesterday with someone, and we were talking about femininity and masculinity. So, women in the modern world can play with masculinity, I think, more easily now than ever before. I'm not saying it's easier, but more easily. Your average man who engages in what we might call more feminine activities like dancing, singing, can get a lot more flack for a variety of reasons, right? And that flack, it's like when you're going in Ireland and someone says, you know, are you fag, are you gay? If you do any sort of like expressive, emotional singing or dancing, you immediately get cut down by that. And a friend of mine was asking me, well, you seem very masculine, James. And I answered that way, yeah, I think sometimes my masculinity is just I develop my masculinity because it allows me to be more feminine without anyone kind of jumping at me, you know? Get strong, look good, and then all of a sudden you can go dance and sing and maybe no one's going to bother you. But someone who's less masculine is less likely to enter into this femininity, if you want to call that, because of this kind of natural manly thing. Say, oh, what are you doing? What's that? You know?
So does that intimate then that men specifically are often choreographed to be a certain way so that they don't show that?
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. I mean, and you know, if you talk, I had a podcast recently talking about how do you connect with your feminine energy, or how do you feel your emotions, right? That stuff's difficult. And for me, I think there's 3 ways that I connect with my emotions, and I still consider myself a long road to go through. But the 3 ways I connect with happiness through dancing.
Yeah, straight up.
I connect with sadness through singing.
Okay.
And I recently learned that I connect with anger through acting. So,
okay.
And it's been, when I see or hear, particularly when I hear other men singing together, I find that very emotional for some reason.
Like Il Divo? I'm just kidding. Now, wait a minute. Speaking of him, singing and acting, he was also recently in a smash hit play done at Boulder Sec called Festen. And good Lord, that was some therapy. But what I didn't know as well is that he does work as a musician as well. In fact, we're gonna have to be seeing you live somewhere, aren't we, sir? And one of the songs that I came across is one that you had in one of your pages called Intangibles that we're gonna play right now. What brought this about?
So I was living in Taiwan after I quit drinking, and I had a band called The Idiots. And I wrote this song one day riding my motorbike over a mountain. And it was essentially a song that captures the feeling I had playing music with us 4 other guys, including my brother. And it was just this feeling of like possibility and joy of expanding your limits, but together with people.
The single cover, was that from there?
No, I just threw it on.
Oh God, I love that. To me, that's like my happy place, by the way. This, familia, is James Macaulay, and this is Intangibles. We'll be right back in 3.5 minutes with Playful Growth BCN. All right. let's get to the transformative 28-day coaching program.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the methods we're going to use.
Yeah.
Various facets of being creative, business speaking coach.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the all-consuming nature of BC as a cultural center?
Not so much.
Not so much.
It's unfitting.
Okay, I want to talk about the health and integrative approach with yoga,
Yeah.
meditation, the ice bath, the
Yeah. All that
saunas.
stuff. Yeah.
I would be too. I love my cock, and I would be too.
Man, this topic of
Too-
the small cock thing is amazing.
No,
Comes up
because the
every
minute
time.
that you get into the ice, I would have a heart attack. I think.
You know,
Yeah.
for me.
I had a hypothermic shock in Peru.
Okay, look, if you got a heart problem,
August.
if you got an actual
I
heart
had a
problem,
yeah, I had a stroke.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't get in the ice
Yeah,
bath
so
then,
don't
bro.
do the ice bath.
Don't do
So
the ice bath.
I didn't have a stroke. I had a transient ischemic attack. Okay, edit that. Edit.
We'll be really
But
careful.
what I found out last week was that that's what took my girl Christine McVie. That's what was wrong. It was a transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke. Now, she was almost 80 and battling something else, but still. And what
Comorbidities.
killed Tina
we learned
was
from-
kidney failure, like my mama.
Man, I only have 1 3/4 kidneys, you know. Because I lost 1/4. Imagine I fell off the wall, I lost 1/4 of my kidney, and no one thought to say, maybe you shouldn't drink anymore. They just said, tone it down for a while, then back in. Yeah. So what we're going to talk about again? We're going to talk about.
I want to get into the transformative 28-day coaching
Sure.
program. I want you to get the dates out. If you need to take change dates, whatever you want to do,
Yeah,
you talk about
24th
that.
of June, sure.
I want to talk about using that integrative approach with the different facets of things that you use,
Yeah.
why you're doing that, how people can get a hold of you, social media follows, and then, we need to start pumping out. I'm going to need some of this stuff for the weekend, please. And then I want to put it up on, I can put up your clips on my Facebook, English Radio Facebook, RCE Facebook, their Twitter, my Twitter. I can put it all everywhere now. That's the idea. So whatever edits you have, send them my way. If it can be a little bit different from whatever you're going to post through Playful Growth, that would be obviously.
We did this great event 2 days ago with silent disco, headphones, paints. Oh, fucking right, man. It was,
Okay, well, I need to be finding out more about this. All of that stuff I need to know about so I can throw it out.
yeah, I'll have some reels and stuff. I'll send you reels all over to you. But that was really nice. Multisensorial, you know?
I teach multisensorial. That's how I
I
teach.
live multisensorial, bro.
Me too. But it's such a part of my body. It's like it's everything. And that, is Mr. James McCauley. Now that
And-
right there
and my
was
band, The
intangible.
Idiots, I
And
would say.
The Idiots. But I really want to get to something that's happening at the end of the month. Now, it's happy June 1st, everybody. And yes, we will be back live and in charge with the beautiful people of the new film festival that's opening up here. But on next Tuesday. But the Transformative 28-day coaching program. Now, as I'm going to be shouting out with Playful Growth throughout this month specifically, it's designed and developed for a man, but strong enough for a woman. I said, girl, it's like Secret in reverse. But what is this? Because you integrated, we're going to talk about this whole and more, but what brought this transformative 28-day and why transformative?
Good question. I'm not sure. The words, I was talking to a friend of mine recently about the word transformative, and he said, be careful what you promise. Because if you promise transformation, the best you're going to get is transformation. Just promise them this is a chance to change your health trajectory, which I firmly believe that it is.
Amen.
Why is it transformative? Because if you set in place, change the conditions of your life, remove the barriers to being healthy, to having a playful attitude, in the long run, compounded over time, you can be a very, very different person over 10 years. If you sort out your sleep, if you sort out your exercise, if you get your flexibility in line, if you start to enjoy life with like-minded people, over time you will become a very, very different person. And sometimes you need an intense experience in order to reset your habits, your circadian rhythm, your eating habits, all these things. And you need the emotional and social support of a group of like-minded people, which is what we're assembling with this program.
Love it. And that, honestly, like-minded people, the thing is, I feel, over the last few years, like-minded people sometimes breed toxicity together. And your whole idea is to remove that, literally, from your body, from your mind, from, we have cracked in our backs oftentimes as well to release that. But you also employ some interesting, as I keep throwing the word holistic and integrative approaches to it, because, for example, you focus specifically, male and female again, but yoga for men.
In this program specifically for men, which I can explain.
And let's do that as well, but it also involves things like saunas, meditation, ice baths. I'm going to presume dancing might be up in there too. Hails to the yeah. And
Absolutely.
so where did the idea, like where was this body, spirit, mind, consciousness coming from? Post, I guess, yes, you're sober, but why for this with playful growth, and also specifically for men focused?
Okay, so let's imagine what are the conditions for a happy, meaningful life, and what are the barriers to that. The conditions fundamentally, physiologically, you need to be in shape to be able to really appreciate and engage in the opportunities that present themselves. Fair enough. The barriers to achieving that physiological state are a variety. You can have emotional, mental, social, cultural, all these types of barriers. And so a program that's trying to allow someone to access their natural state has to take these things into account. So for example, with saunas and ice baths, these change your hormonal state. These provide you a completely different set of hormones and physiology, so you can actually appreciate things better. Basically, you have increases in dopamine, you have serotonin, a whole range of actually just physical benefits, and also the resilience that comes with sticking yourself in an ice bath every day over 28 days with a group of like-minded people.
Wow, honestly. And I would like to also say, people, if you suffer from certain arterial and heart conditions, it might not be the best idea to do the ice baths, but there's so much of the other integrative approaches that you can do as well. And we'll be talking about that all month long here at RCE in the Club with Lucas as well, with Playful Growth. But I would also like to say, for those of you who are interested in staying young, remember I'm 74 years old, folks. I'm 74. And ice baths for your face produce so much collagen in an instant, I can't even tell you. So for those of you who want to do plump, red, and look for, without ice or really freezing cold water, just for like 30 seconds, I'm not even kidding. But beyond that, that's me being vain, sir. But beyond that, you also take the integrative, holistic thing about meditation, about the yoga, about why does a man who is also obviously Adonis type physical specimen, why does he focus also on these more kinetic, perhaps, approaches?
Let's take yoga as a concrete example, right? So I started yoga when I was 23 in Taiwan. The reason why I started was because there was no one around to tell me that there was anything not masculine about it, to be honest. And I was in a room for 2 years with lovely Asian women all taking care of me, and they were building contraptions for me because I was a rugby player. Yeah. I was so inflexible that they had to build ropes and blankets on, and I was piled up like this, and I didn't care because no one around saying is an idiot. But most people care a lot. If you go to an average yoga class with these big groups of large people, you'll see classes that are designed for average to good yogis, usually women, and then some guys, usually somewhere in the back, not all the time, but a lot of time, looking around trying to figure out what's going on. And even for them to get there, they already have to be quite comfortable with themselves. You don't see the multitude of men who didn't go because they were too embarrassed to reveal how non-flexible they are, because they generally focus on HIIT workouts or intense workouts that lead to results, and because maybe they're just not aware of the benefits of breathing deeply and stretching, especially over time.
Exactly, especially over time. And that's the thing, you also have to give yourself that time. Don't think that you're going to see the results, that weekend just because you did it for a few days. And there's an element of that. I want to get to one more song and then get back to how people can get a hold of you, because we're going to be talking about this all month long again, Children of the Corn, and how people can contact you and get more information about that. And I have a couple more questions in reference to the fact that he's also going to play some live music. But you sent us a song over the weekend called this week called Shadows for Show. What is this about?
I mentioned it before, but have a sip of water. I tore my ACL. I was living in China a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years ago. I had a role in a theater there, it's a Chinese language theater, as a yoga teacher, and I tore my ACL just before the big show.
And the ACL is what?
It's the cruciate ligament. It's what the footballers call it. Not fun. Terrible injury. Oof. And so I sat at home in Beijing during COVID, and I wrote an EP. And this song, I don't even know exactly, but it exactly expresses some sort of sadness or mourning for some maybe love or feeling that I'm not even sure I ever had. Okay. But it definitely expressed the exact feeling I had at that moment. And so it's Shadows for Show.
Shadows for Show, yo. And this is James McCauley here on the Club with Lucas at RCE 106.9 FM, and catch the gems live as well at rce.cat. We'll be right back. We might not have time for both songs.
Just pick one, man. It's fine. I'll do one.
Okay. Now
Which
I
one
have
do you
to
want?
know which one it is. What Jamiroquai were you gonna play?
Virtual Insanity.
Okay, and then the other song was by
By Killers.
which one?
Mr. Brightside. Brightside.
I only heard that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm gonna play one. It's only one. It's gonna take like a minute and a half. That song.
Okay.
Yeah.
To play us out, yeah. That would be lovely. If that's okay with you.
Sure.
And then we'll close because at at about 10 minutes we need to be popped out so that they can come in.
No problem.
And then you have a lot of footage, right? Tienes
Español.
un montón. Tienes un montón de videos ya.
Ah, sí, sí. ¿Quieres que corte?
No, pero esta
no,
semana
no,
vamos a ver de editar y mandar
Sí,
unas
sí,
cositas
claro,
para la publicación por nuestras redes y lo sé. Pero tengo unas cositas muy preciosas aquí también.
Sí. They were nice actually. They were
Yeah.
nice. I felt like
And you do it in 45 to 60 seconds, so that's perfect.
Yeah, pero tengo
That's what I
una
need.
habilidad de decir las cosas.
Es que ya
Sí.
sabemos,
Ok, mama, 45 segundos. Ok, basta.
Which one would be less? God, this reminds me of my sister's music from Austin, Texas. In the 90s.
The Jamiroquai song sounds better. Well, no, they both
Yeah, I
sound
was
great.
just because I heard that and I thought maybe Jamiroquai. Yeah.
Do Jamiroquai because it's a
And it's Jamiroquai.
yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like what's his name from the Killers may also be a bit of a Trump supporter.
I don't even know what his name is, bro. But probably
Brandon
is.
Flowers. His name is Brandon Flowers. And we need to pick a date to get out to Velvet.
Yeah, baby. I want to get back on the music. So quiero empezar de nuevo a tocar. Cantar mucho.
Pero tú hablas castellano,
Sí,
entonces.
sí. Tengo un C1, güey.
Perfectísimo.
Tengo un acento bastante jodido por varias razones,
Pero-
pero bueno, pero sí, vamos. Nosotros hablamos en español, Daniel está en camino de ser perfecto en inglés, pero estamos tan ocupados últimamente que no tenemos ni un momento de empezar con este camino. Sí.
No, pero el otro día estaba hablando con alguien y me han dicho, es tan obvio que eres norteamericano. I'm like, fuck you.
No, hablas bien.
Porque tengo una amiga que solo puede hablar en esta manera.
La típica gringa que habla así. Gringa Bilbo.
Él quiere que yo hable así para ser más auténtico americano. Oh,
Pero
hola,
no,
amigos.
es irlandés.
No, pero no
man.
tanto americano, sí, sino
Sí, como un intermedio.
el mood de...
Okay, ¿cuál es el plan?
Yeah, we've got a little bit to talk about here, and that, my family, was James McCulley with Shadows for Show. And actually, in just a few minutes, he's going to be playing us out with a live track that makes me happy and will make you happy too. Now, out of my curiosity, do you, apart from doing these different approaches to what you work with, is there anything else that feels that you feel sets you apart from other people that might be doing this in Barcelona? Out of curiosity, specifically because I don't really know if it's based on men's, mental, physical.
I can honestly say we have the best yoga teacher I ever met. And I love her to bits. Suzelle, amazing. I get
Okay.
shivers thinking about her. I love her. I love her. She's amazing. She transmits the most beautiful energy. The other day, I met a guy in On the Screens. Hi, On the Screens. And I invited him over. And he arrived to have a sauna and ice bath. We were having a nice time. And he said to me, I said, how are you doing? He's like, I'm doing great, man. Really good. I said, wow, you look happy. He's like, I just had the most amazing yoga class. This yoga teacher, she sang like an angel. And it just was, oof. And I was like, was her name Suzelle? And he's like, you know her? And the other thing that sets it apart is this small student-teacher ratio. We're talking about having 8 to 10 people and always 2 instructors. And these are going to be customized plans based on a diagnosis by our osteopath, Jake, right? So when you come in, you're going to be checked out, see what your limitations, what your abilities are. And throughout those 28 days of that yoga, you're going to have constant feedback. And these programs are going to be tailored to your abilities. So at the end of that, you will walk out with a very solid plan for becoming more flexible in the future and a good enough yoga base to be comfortable going to yoga classes without looking up in the bubble.
In that 28 integrative day approach, what are some of the ways that you'll be doing it? Like, for example, for people who have to work or whatnot.
So the yoga program starts in the morning, from depending on the participant's time frame, but we're looking at morning classes that go from 7 to 8:30, and then the evening coaching classes and saunas and ice baths happen after the working hour, maybe from 6 to 8, 6 to 8, depending on participants, and on the weekends. So it's a 100-hour program, but it's distributed. It sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, and we expect commitment, but it's distributed in such a way that if you're working a 9 to 5 job or any other job, you can do this and do this program if you have the mindset necessary for that.
Amen.
Which is what we want.
Exactly.
It's not easy.
In the end, no, it's not. So in the end, what would you like to see as a result?
Look, in the end, the idea is that if you change, even just by changing your circadian rhythm, even by getting up at the same time every day and doing yoga over 28 days, you've established a habit and a mindset and a group of people which is very likely to carry over further on into your life and compound over time. So the idea is I would like people to change their trajectory from this to a little bit higher, and over time you can be a very, very different person.
And over time, I believe Playful Growth too wants to branch out and doing more things as well that incorporate more people talking about certain topics. Dancing specifically, I want to get back into when we do those shock surprise dances with people. Honestly, this happened a lot when I first moved here between 2009 and 12, and then things with the movement and the process and everything kind of just stopped. But it's time to get that back. Folks, how can people contact you? Because we're going to be having you back in a couple of weeks as well to talk more and embellish more upon what we've been talking about. But how can people contact you right now?
Playfulgrowth.com, Playfulgrowth BCN, Instagram. Those are the two best ways.
There we
Playfulgrowth.com
go.
and Playfulgrowth Instagram. You can message me directly on the Instagram and I'll get back to you, or someone from my team will get back to you. Or you can message us through the email, james@playfulgrowth.com. Many ways to find me.
And we'll be throwing all of that good services as well here on our interwebs all throughout this month. And we want to thank again our newest sponsor, Playful Growth, and we'll be throwing a little bit of air spots for that as well over the next few weeks. James, thank you for being here. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, and a couple of weeks after that for you already know what. Now, folks, remember you can get all that information at Playful Growth and look at Playful Growth BCN at Instagram as well. But we're not over yet. We will see you same bat time and channel next week on Tuesday, as we always do, with Antoine Leonetti of the Mostra Fire Film Festival, the local LGBTQI international film festival. But right now, our brother James McCauley is going to play us out with a little bit of virtual insanity with a new reality. James McCauley of Playful Growth, thank you so much for being here, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's a wonder man can eat at all, with things so big that should be small. And who can tell what magic spells will be doing for us? And I'm giving all my love to this world, only till we talk. I can't see, no, I can breathe, not what I see. Well, that's what they said yesterday. There's nothing left to do but play. I think it's time we found a new religion. Wow, it's a crazy world we're living in, and I just can't help but think it's something in this world that we just have to give. Futures made of virtual insanity now always seem to be governed by this love we have now. Futures drifting without a new technology. Oh, now there is no sound, 'cause we all live on the ground. And I'm thinking what a mess we're in. It's hard to know where to begin. If I could take this earthly thing on, earthly man is wrong. When every mother can choose a color of a baby's eyes, but baby, that's not nature's way. Well, that's what they said yesterday. There's nothing left to do but play. I think it's time we found a new religion. Futures made of Virtual insanity now always seem to be governed by this love we have now useless drifting. But I'm a new technology. Oh, now there is no sign, 'cause we all live on the ground.
I love it. James McCauley, Playful Growth BCN. We'll see you next time. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye bye.